is starting off to explore meaningful work. And for me, as an educator in early childhood education, this seemed like a very meaningful job. So I really took the perspective of educators and teachers to examine privilege. And while working on that topic, I found out more about the access to job markets, and like also from my work experience that it's very different depending on where you come from, how you get access to the job market, and not that it's not like there's not the same access wherever you come from. So I was digging a bit deeper into that topic and find jobs within the European Union with the same opportunities, but for people from outside the European Union, that there's a very big difference and a very big challenge to get access to a meaningful job within these countries. So yeah, that's like where my journey took me writing that article. Yeah, so yeah, Lorraine, how do you see your perspective on privilege?
Yeah, I feel like privilege is something that you are kind of born with, and it's kind of like a bit of a luck. So, for example, you might have in your families people who have careers, they have certain positions in life, and then there's other families who may not have parents who are like have any like professional positions or any educational background. So I feel like for those people who have these parents who have educational backgrounds, who have a certain position in like job markets or these kind of places, I feel like these children are more privileged to be exploited to that kind of environment, to see that this is kind of like the normality to them. Whereas the other families whose children have not seen this kind of position, I feel like it's slightly not, I wouldn't say impossible, but slightly more difficult for them to kind of position themselves in that position of being, for example, a CEO or owning their own businesses. So I feel like even the smallest things is a privilege to like to anyone, and like having not only access but also resources to different like educations, different pathways is a huge privilege, because not everyone has those accesses or that education system that some countries have better than the others.
Yeah, same here. So that's what I also sorry wrote about, basically, like people now look for the white man's job as pertain to doing hard work, practical work. Like for us here, we tend to study just for the white man's job, because we find that um, that's the only way to make the money. That's the only way not to suffer too much just to make the money. So if you have that kind of link, if your family is, let's say, have a position in the government field or wherever, then that means that automatically you are also in that line. So once your grandfather retires, your father takes over. Once your father takes over and also works for some time and then grows old, you also take over, and then your children also take over. So here lies in, as Lauren says, privilege is now like based on family ties or relationship ties. It means that who you know determines where you will be, or the kind of work you will do, or the kind of profession that you likely to have. So in this case, we find schools, like, even though they are training kids, parents are also influencing the kids, like what they should do. So you may have a child who is not interested in being a doctor, but because the family has that line, the child is being forced to study courses that will make him be a doctor. At the end of the day, the child may either fail or be in a profession he or she may not like. So even though we are privileged to have our parents guiding us, or have the society deciding for us what kind of job is better for us, we may end up failing. So it's not, even though we are privileged, we should also look at the negative impact of it. We could either fail or make it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I also found out that it leads to a lot of job migration, like people looking for their job and they have to go away because they can't work in the country where they live. So they might have to move somewhere else, learn a new language, challenge all the administration process to get access to the job market.
Yeah.